We need to talk. You sent me this. Again.
Mediocre email that took you 10 seconds to write and cost me 2 or more hours of work.
And I will no longer tolerate it. Hey and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and I'm a German mechanical engineer based in Sweden. It has come to my attention that your emails suck. And I'm finally addressing this. So I'm making this video to help you write better emails and stop the suffering. Believe it or not, this skill can really make you stand out. People have actually commented on particularly well-written emails that I send out at work. But before I go over the worst mistakes you can make when writing emails and how to avoid them, let me start by saying this. The greatest emails are the ones that never happened. Therefore, sending an email must always be justified. From now on, you're only allowed to send an email if the following things apply. 1. You know exactly who you want to write an email to. 2. You know what you want the other person to do with that email. 3. There is no better form of communication that you could choose. And 4. You have the time to make it a good email. Okay, now that we're absolutely sure we have to send this email, let's go over what I'm going to call the 5 horrors of email communication. The first horror is the bad starter. This type of email lacks a meaningful subject line, or even worse, it makes you scared of opening that email. So what is the purpose of the subject line? It's to grab the reader's attention and give them a quick overview of what the email is about and how urgent it is. It should not scare the reader away from opening the email. You know those emails that give you a bad feeling just from reading the subject line, so that you end up procrastinating to even read them? Yeah, we want to avoid that. So your first task when writing an email is to think of a good subject line that gives them a quick overview of what the email contains and how urgent it is, and that does not scare them away, but actually makes them want to open the email. For example, if you want to ask someone a quick question where you need a quick answer but it doesn't take a lot of time, then it can actually help to just call it a quick question about topic X, so that the other person knows that you want to have an answer soon, but that this will not take a lot of their time, and therefore makes them more likely to open it right away. On the other hand, if you want their full attention for a longer time to go through the email, just a more elaborate description of the whole topic in the subject line can signal that this is a larger topic to discuss. Okay, horror number 2 is the serial killer. And the reason I called it this is because this type of email leaves behind only clues and no proper instructions to what you should do with it. I get this type of email a lot, and it's really frustrating and takes a long time to respond to. Examples of this type of email are, "Hey Anna, can you take this?" And then there's a long email thread that I'm supposed to read through to figure out what my task is. Or, "Hey Anna, I have received this document from our supplier." And then there's no instructions what I'm supposed to do with that. So in that case, I can only guess that maybe I'm supposed to save it, maybe I'm supposed to check it. It's not really clear. And similarly, if you use instant messaging at work and you just message someone hi and then you wait until they respond before you even tell them what you want, this is kind of the email equivalent of that. And please stop it. It's really annoying. If you don't have a lot of time in your day to message back people, then you want to be able to know the whole topic and then you can message them back. And you're way more likely to get a response as well if you're really clear about what you want from someone. So basically, if you're sending an email and you want someone to do something with that email, then you need to write clear instructions written by you in that email, not somewhere down in the thread, in your email. Email horror number 3 is the tornado. And this is basically just a brain dump. There's no clear structure. And oh my god, I get this email a lot. Maybe it has kind of clear instructions somewhere hidden in the text, but it's like a little bit of context, a little bit of question, a little bit of instruction, and then all over. And it's a lot of work to decipher what you want. So to avoid this, give your email a structure. It can be really simple structure. Like what I like to do is, well, I greet them and then I give a quick summary of my email. Like, I have a quick question about this topic, or I would like to start the discussion on this topic, and after this brief introduction or summary, I will give some context if it's needed, and I will write in front context. And then I will give as much context as the person needs to understand this topic. If I have some questions to ask, I will make a numbered list of the questions so that they can easily refer to them. And finally, if there's something else I would like them to do besides answering these questions, then I will write those instructions at the end of the email, since this is where people usually expect to have instructions. And actually having the structure not only helps the person that reads the email, but also me to figure out what do I really want from them, clearly formulate distinct questions, and things that should absolutely be included in the instructions are by when you would like them to do this, what other people you would like them to involve, if there's any documents in the attachment or any information in the email thread that you want them to consider. And usually it's also nice to say that if they have any questions, then they should reach out to you. Email horror number 4 is the chatter. This might not seem so horrible, but I make the rules, and as an introvert I find this to be one of the greatest horrors. That's why this is what I called it. Just like the tornado type of email, the chatter email is hard to read, but not because of a lack of content structure, but because nothing really stands out. Everything looks the same. This email has not been formatted. Everything is the same level of loudness or urgency. Nothing catches your eye or your ear, therefore chatter. And this is really easy to avoid, but for some reason people don't usually do this, and that is to format your email. You are allowed to use headings. You are allowed to have something in bold or underlined or in cursive. You can use enumerations and bullet points, and even have some of the text in a different color, or maybe use the marker function to make some text stand out. In my opinion, every single email should have formatting, and the types of formatting I like to use is, first of all, to emphasize the content structure with headings that are in bold and underlined, for example, context or questions. And then I like to use bullet points instead of a block of text, because this is much easier to read. A good way to respond to questions is to copy their questions and then put the answer right behind it in a different color or in bold or both to make them stand out. Of course, don't overdo it. You don't want to have like a rainbow colored email, because if everything is colorful and bold, then nothing stands out. But the things that are really important, maybe the questions or the one instruction you want them to do, or the date and place of something, those things can be in bold or in color, and that makes it so much easier to read, and also makes people much more willing to respond if it's easy to respond. And the fifth and final email horror is the snowball. This is the type of email that should really have been a phone call or a meeting, because the email that starts this merely touches the surface of the entire topic. More and more issues keep unraveling, and the email thread grows, and the number of people in the to and CC line grows, and subthreads are started until no one knows anymore if the original question has been answered and what the current question is and what the next step should be. If you witness this kind of snowball email happening, you need to call a meeting with everyone involved in the email thread. Now, probably not everyone that is involved in the email thread should actually be a part of this discussion, especially if it's a lot of people, but calling for a meeting will actually more naturally sort this out, because people are more careful with the meetings they choose to attend than with the emails they choose to read or reply to. There's a few really easy ways to avoid this, which is to, first of all, address every single email that you want people to respond to specific people. This is not true if you're sending out meeting notes that no one needs to do anything with, but if you want a response from people, then those people need to know. And finally, if you cannot explain the context in a few sentences or paragraphs, then you should probably call for a meeting or call someone, because some topics are just too complicated to solve over email. Now, I know this might seem like I expect you to spend a lot of time on writing emails, and that's absolutely right. Writing an email should almost never take just 10 seconds, and it's perfectly fine to spend even 30 minutes or an hour on a really important email. Because if you take all the back and forth and all the follow-up questions and all the forwarding to other people, then you waste a lot of time by writing a bad or even just a mediocre email. Basically, I see a good email as an investment in the future. The better my email is now, the less work this topic is going to produce for me in the future. Okay, I hope that this video has solved the horrors of email communication once and for all. If you like this video, please leave me a like, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in my next video.